Have you ever noticed that loading bar on your computer that races to 99% and then just stops? Like it hits that final stretch and suddenly forgets how to count? You're sitting there watching it, waiting. And you start wondering if your computer's actually doing anything or if it's just messing with you at this point. Here's what nobody tells you about that loading bar. It's lying to you on purpose. And the crazy part? You actually prefer the lie. I'm not talking about a glitch. I'm not talking about bad programming. I'm talking about one of the most deliberate psychological tricks that tech companies use on you every single day. And once you understand what's really happening, you'll never look at a progress bar the same way again. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to understand why your computer can't actually tell you the truth about loading times, why that spinning wheel exists when nothing's even loading, and why feeling like something's happening matters more to your brain than what's actually happening. This isn't just about computers. It's about how your mind works when you're forced to wait for anything. So here's what's really happening every time you stare at that screen. Think about the last time you installed a software update. Maybe it was your iPhone, maybe Windows, doesn't matter. You tap that update button and boom, progress bar appears. It starts moving. 20%, 40%, 60%, you're feeling good, this is going somewhere. Then it hits 99% and it stops for like 5 minutes. And you're just sitting there thinking, what is happening right now? What could possibly be left? It's 1%. Everyone tells you to just be patient, that computers are complicated, that these things take time. But that's not what actually happens. What really happens is your computer has no idea how long anything will take. So it's making up numbers to keep you calm. Here's the thing most people don't realize. That progress bar isn't measuring actual progress most of the time. It's measuring how anxious you're about to get. And companies know that if they show you nothing, just a blank screen that says, please wait, you'll lose your mind. You'll assume it crashed. You'll restart. You'll leave a 1-star review. But show you a moving bar, even a fake one, suddenly you're okay. You'll wait. You'll be patient because your brain thinks something's happening. And this matters because you're making decisions based on fake information dozens of times every day. It's not just about loading bars. It's about how companies manipulate your perception of time, progress, and reality itself. Every app you use, every website you visit, every device you own, they're all using the same psychological tricks to make you feel better about waiting. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't actually want honesty, you want comfort. Let me introduce you to something designers call benevolent deception. That's the fancy term for when your computer lies to you for your own good. And it's everywhere once you start looking for it. Benevolent deception is when technology gives you false information to reduce your stress. It's not malicious, it's not trying to steal your data or trick you into buying something. It's literally just trying to make you feel better while you wait. Think of it like when you call customer service and they say, your call is very important to us. Your estimated wait time is 5 minutes. That's benevolent deception. They have no idea if it's 5 minutes. Could be 2, could be 20, but telling you 5 minutes makes you less likely to hang up because your brain can handle 5 minutes. Your brain can't handle unknown amount of time. Same thing happens with loading bars. When you see that bar moving, your brain releases a tiny hit of dopamine. Progress feels good. Movement feels good. Even if that movement means absolutely nothing in terms of actual computational progress. Here's why this is particularly sneaky. Your brain is terrible at judging time when nothing's happening. Like genuinely awful at it. Studies show that when people wait in complete stillness, no stimulation, no feedback, they overestimate the wait time by up to 40%. A 2-minute wait feels like 3 minutes, but add a loading animation, suddenly that same 2 minutes feels like 90 seconds. Your brain sees movement and thinks, oh, we're getting somewhere. This is fine. This connects to something psychologists call idleness aversion. It's this weird quirk of human nature where doing nothing feels worse than doing something, even if that something is completely pointless. There's this famous study from a few years back. Researchers asked people to sit in a room and wait. Some people got a loading bar to watch, other people got nothing. Just a blank screen and a message that said, loading. Same actual wait time for everyone, 7 minutes. The people with the blank screen, they rated the experience as frustrating. Some didn't even finish. They thought it crashed. The people with the loading bar, they were fine, totally fine. Even though the bar wasn't connected to anything. It was just an animation on a loop. That's idleness aversion. Your brain would rather watch a fake progress bar than do nothing, because nothing feels like wasted time. But watching something, even if it's meaningless, feels productive. Think about airports. You ever notice how when you land and you're waiting for your luggage, it feels like forever? You're just standing there at the carousel watching other people's bags go by. It's torture. But then you walk off the plane and it takes you 6 minutes to get to baggage claim because the airport is huge. You don't feel frustrated during that walk. You feel fine because you're moving, you're doing something. Airports actually design themselves this way on purpose. They make you walk farther to baggage claim specifically, so you spend more time moving and less time standing still waiting, because standing still drives people crazy. Movement, even pointless movement, feels better. Same principle with loading bars. That bar is your walk through the airport. It's giving your brain something to do while the actual work happens in the background. Now here's where things get really interesting. Sometimes that loading bar isn't just fake. It's actively lying about where you are in the process. You know how it zooms to 99% and then stops? That's not random. That's deliberate design. Because designers discovered something wild about human psychology. We perceive the beginning and end of tasks differently than the middle. When something starts, we're optimistic. We're engaged. Those first few seconds fly by. And when something's almost done, we're impatient. Every second feels like an hour. But the middle just kind of exists. We zone out. So, smart designers front load the progress bar. They make it race to 90% super fast even though the computer's barely done anything. Because getting you to 90% quickly makes you feel good. Makes you feel like this won't take long. Then they slow it way down for that last stretch. Because the actual heavy lifting usually happens at the end. Verification, installation, final configurations, all that happens in the final 10%. But here's the thing. If they showed you a progress bar that sat at 10% for 7 minutes and then jumped to 100% in 30 seconds, you'd think it was broken. You'd restart your computer, you'd call tech support. So instead, they lie. They show you rapid progress early, then slow, painful progress at the end. And somehow that feels more believable to your brain, even though it's backwards from what's actually happening. This is what I call the celebration trap. Your brain celebrates hitting 99%. It thinks you're almost done. So now every second you wait after that feels like a betrayal. You were so close. Why is this taking forever? But that celebration was premature. The computer tricked you into celebrating too early, and now you're suffering for it. You see this everywhere, not just with computers. Think about tracking a package from Amazon. It shows up in your city. You get that notification. Your package is out for delivery. And you're excited. It's so close. It's in your neighborhood. You'll have it in like an hour. Then it's 8 p.m. and it's still not there. And you're way more frustrated than you would have been if it just said arriving Tuesday with no updates. Because you celebrated too early, you thought you were in the final stretch. That's the celebration trap. Early progress feels amazing until it doesn't. And then it feels worse than no progress at all. But here's what makes this even more surprising. Sometimes your computer genuinely can't tell you the truth about loading times. Not because it doesn't want to, because it literally doesn't know. There's this concept in computer science called the halting problem. It's super nerdy, but stick with me. Basically, it's mathematically impossible for a computer to predict how long every task will take. Some processes are too complex, too many variables, too many unknowns. Like when you're installing a program, the computer has to check your system, see what files you already have, see what needs updating, see what's compatible. Every computer is different. Every installation is unique. There's no way to know exactly how long it'll take. So what do programmers do? They guess. They make their best estimate based on average cases. And they build in that fake progress bar to keep you entertained while the real work happens behind the scenes. This is why loading bars speed up and slow down randomly. Why they sometimes jump backwards. Why they lie about being almost done? Because they're not measuring actual progress. They're measuring estimated progress based on incomplete information. Your computer is basically saying, I think I'm about 70% done, maybe? Hard to say. But I'll show you 70% so you don't panic. And weirdly, you prefer this. You prefer a lying progress bar over no information at all. Because the lie gives you comfort. The lie gives you something to hold on to. But here's what nobody wants to admit. This goes way deeper than computers. This is about how you perceive progress in your entire life. What's actually happening is we've built a world that prioritizes feeling productive over being productive. We've designed systems that make us feel good about waiting, even when the waiting is pointless. And we prefer the illusion of progress to the reality of uncertainty. This isn't about loading bars. It's about how humans cope with not being in control. When you can't control the outcome, you need to control the perception. And companies know this. They've weaponized it. Every interface you touch is designed to manipulate your sense of time, your sense of progress, your sense of accomplishment. Because if they can make you feel good while you wait, you'll wait longer. You'll be more patient. You'll be less likely to complain. Think about social media. When you post something on Instagram, there's that little spinning circle while it uploads. That circle isn't necessary. The upload happens in the background. The circle is just there to make you feel like something's happening, to make you wait those extra 2 seconds before you move on. Or think about Google searches. You type something in and results appear instantly. But Google actually adds a tiny artificial delay to the search, just a fraction of a second. Because if results appeared too fast, you wouldn't trust them. You'd think the search didn't work properly. So they slow it down on purpose to make it feel more legitimate. This is why people who succeed at getting you to wait aren't more honest. They're better at managing your perception. They understand that humans don't want truth. They want comfort. They want to feel like they're making progress even when they're not. And once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. It's everywhere. Job applications that say your application is being reviewed when it's sitting in a database untouched. Fitness apps that celebrate you for opening them even though you haven't exercised. Streaming services that say loading when they're really just dealing with a server error. Everyone's lying to you, not to hurt you, to help you, to make you feel better about waiting in a world where everything takes longer than you want it to. Let me tell you about two people dealing with the same situation. Sarah and Marcus. Both of them need to update their laptops. Same computer, same update, same everything. Sarah clicks update and watches the progress bar. It's moving. 20%, 40%. She's feeling good. But then it hits 99% and stops. She watches it, waits, checks her phone, comes back. Still 99%. She starts getting anxious. Is it frozen? Should she restart? She hovers her hand over the power button, starts Googling Windows Update stuck at 99%, gets more anxious reading forum posts about corrupted files and system errors. Finally, after 10 minutes, it finishes. But Sarah's stressed. She doesn't trust her computer anymore. Next time there's an update, she'll avoid it as long as possible. Now compare that to Marcus. Marcus also clicks update. Also sees the progress bar, also watches it race to 99% and freeze. But Marcus understands what's happening. He knows the bar is fake, knows it's designed to keep him calm, knows the actual installation happens at the end. So instead of staring at it, he gets up, makes coffee, answers some emails, comes back 15 minutes later, and it's done. He's not stressed, he's not anxious, because he didn't fall for the trick. He just let the computer do its thing. Notice how both waited the same amount of time, both used the same computer? The only difference is Marcus understood the game being played. He didn't let the fake progress bar manipulate his emotions. He knew it was theater. And that knowledge set him free. Sarah trusted the interface. Marcus understood the interface. And that's everything. Here's what most people don't realize. It's not actually about whether loading bars are real or fake. It's about whether you're aware of how your mind responds to waiting. The people who succeed at staying calm during uncertainty don't have more patience. They understand that progress isn't linear, that finishing takes longer than starting, that your perception of time changes based on what you're looking at. You can apply this to everything. Waiting for a promotion at work, waiting for a relationship to develop, waiting for results from a diet or exercise routine. Your brain does the same thing. It wants visible progress. It wants movement. And when it doesn't get that, it panics. But real progress rarely looks like a smooth line going up. Real progress looks like that loading bar. Lots of movement at first, then a long plateau, then sudden completion. And if you don't understand that pattern, you'll quit right before the breakthrough. These patterns aren't personal failures. They're predictable responses that any human has when forced to wait without feedback. But now that you understand how benevolent deception works, you can catch yourself falling for it. You can recognize when something's designed to manipulate your perception versus actually giving you useful information. So here's what we've uncovered. Every time you wait for something to load, you're not just waiting for technology to finish a task. You're experiencing a carefully designed psychological manipulation meant to keep you calm. Those progress bars aren't honest. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to make you feel better about uncertainty. And remember idleness aversion? How your brain prefers fake progress over no progress? That applies to everything. Your career, your goals, your relationships. Anytime you're in a waiting period, your brain will trick you into thinking nothing's happening unless you see visible movement. Plus, there's the celebration trap, getting excited about hitting 99% when the real work hasn't even started yet. This shows up when you're almost at a goal and suddenly progress stalls. Your brain thought you were done, but you weren't, and now every day feels harder than it should. The question isn't whether you can be more patient. The question is whether you'll recognize these patterns when they show up in your life. Because now, you know loading bars are mostly fake. You know your brain perceives waiting differently based on what it's looking at. You can't unknow it. So next time you're staring at a progress bar stuck at 99%, ask yourself, am I frustrated because something's wrong? Or am I frustrated because I fell for benevolent deception? Because once you see that these interfaces are designed to manipulate your emotions, you stop giving them that power. You realize that the loading bar isn't telling you how long you have to wait, it's telling you how long the designer thinks you'll tolerate waiting. And that's a completely different thing. Because real progress happens in the background, whether you're watching or not. The bar doesn't make it go faster, it just makes the wait feel shorter. And now that you understand that, you're free to stop watching, stop obsessing, stop checking every 5 seconds. Just let it load, it'll finish when it finishes, and you'll be amazed how much less frustrating that becomes when you stop believing the lie.